you're watching HW News. This is me, Anusha. Traveling to Hong Kong soon? Well, before you travel, there are certain things you really need to know about that place. Now, I'm not going to give you any kind of travel guide here. So, for months, Hong Kong streets have seethed with discontent. Scenes from that semi-autonomous region show protesters or sometimes even a battle with the police force. People, and I mean thousands and sometimes lakhs, wearing surgical masks and carrying placards raising their demands. This protest that began in Hong Kong back in June over a bill that would allow extraditions to China has certainly received a global attention, not only on the city but also in a relationship with Beijing. The world watched how a wave of protesters clogged the airports, roads, forcing authorities to cancel flights and managing the crowd. Also, the political unrest has already taken a toll on its economy. And all these surely leave you all with many questions like how this all started, how long will it last and how it will end. So first of all, let me tell you what was the reason that triggered this entire protest. What triggered this protest? It all started back in February 2019 when the chief executive Carrie Lam's government proposed some legal changes that will allow the transfer of criminal suspects between jurisdictions with which it lacks formal extradition agreements, including the mainland China. Now, this extradition bill is known as the Fugitive Offenders and Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters Legislation Bill of 2019. This bill would expand the range of countries where suspected offenders may be sent beyond the list of those with which Hong Kong has a mutual extradition agreement. And in this matter, Hong Kong's chief executive holds a significant power over which these cases apply. And mind you, this opens the door to the extradition to mainland China, which holds much greater control over Hong Kong with its independent court. That's the reason why Hong Kong is coming out to raise their voice against this bill. They do not want any kind of interference from the mainland China. Several lawyers, activists and members of the city quickly expressed their alarm and cautioned that it will not only threaten Hong Kong's autonomy but also its status as a safe haven for international firms as well. The first huge gathering which grabbed the attention was on June 9th when thousands and lakhs of people marched through the city's financial hub to oppose this proposal and kicked off the movement, after which the authorities scaled the bill back. Hong Kong's chief executive, Carrie Lam, suspended the legislation and even apologized, but the protest is still ongoing. So if the bill is suspended, why have the protest continued? Well, that's partly because the bill is not formally dead. The chief executive has refrained from withdrawing it entirely from the legislative process, which has now raised suspicions among its critics that it could be revived back again, and due to which the protesters have continued staging major rallies and protest where they have demanded a formally withdrawal of the bill. So how has China reacted? So far, the reaction in mainland China has shifted from indifference to outright hostility. First, these Chinese authorities ignored the protest, then misrepresenting them and later rejecting them entirely. Even one of the Chinese specialists speaking to media had expressed how Beijing sees this unfolding crisis as something that is really destabilizing and challenges the Chinese rule and its control. Also, Hua Shuing, the spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, had said that the recent protest and demonstration in Hong Kong have turned into radical violent behaviors that seriously violate the law, undermine security and social order in Hong Kong and endanger local people's safety, as well as the property and the normal life over there. She further said that Beijing firmly supports Hong Kong's chief executive and the police who are strictly enforcing the law over there. But why is China interfering into Hong Kong's matter? But before that, we need to know whether Hong Kong is an independent country or not. Well, it is a semi-autonomous country with its own money, its passport, immigrant channels and its legal system. But it isn't quite independent either. In fact, Hong Kong was never an independent country. Earlier, it was controlled by the Britain as a British colony until 1997, and then China agreed to govern Hong Kong under the principle of one country, two system, and a deal was struck with China when British rule ended. But however, in recent years and with these ongoing protests by the Hong Kong residents, these protests have become more fearful of creeping mainland China control down. And the bottom line? The officials from either Beijing or Hong Kong government has failed to bring any solution to the extradition bill matter yet. On one hand, half of the politician is against the protesters. On the other hand, it is blaming the government handling the controversial bill and its problems surrounding it. Well, seems like both the sides have dug in for a prolonged struggle for Hong Kong's future. To let us know what you think in the comment box below. For more news updates, log on to www.hwnews.in.